Hello, everyone. I'm Kirk Tiemann, and I will be teaching you in this career development course this semester. I'm really excited about this course. I imagine, and sometimes historically, students have various reactions to the career development course. Some are kind of confused about what it covers, why it's part of the course. Hopefully, a lot of more clarity will surface from to those questions. But I've actually worked as a career counselor quite a bit in my experience. I've done clinical mental health and career counseling, as well as been the manager of career counseling. So kind of overseeing the service delivery of career counseling. And I've seen how it can be an incredibly powerful and important form of counseling and specialty in counseling. Uh, but yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me and about the background. But I hope that like an informal learning outcome for this class is that I hope that you can understand how career infuses into whether it's your school setting or for that track or the clinical mental health role. And some of you could work at like a university setting or even a community setting providing career and vocational type counseling. So uh, yeah, I hope that you understand, how it can be infused into your work wherever you end up. Uh, and I guess overall in this video, I'm going to be going over the syllabus to hopefully help clarify some expectations, some major points there, as well as just a few just basic thoughts on the Betz article that's the reading for this first week. Okay, without further ado, let me share my screen and I will go over the syllabus. Okay, here is the syllabus. Uh, just these highlights won't be there on your syllabus, but I wanted to highlight a few things. Obviously, it's all important. You need to be familiar with it all, but just a few key points to address in this video. Uh, so I do have my Adams email there, but for the most part, I communicate with students just via Blackboard mail. But there's my email as well if you'd like to reach out to me that way. I have my office hours posted there, and I'm like happy to check in about just how the course is going, whether that's Zoom or a phone call, whatever works. If we need to check in, but those are the times that I've scheduled. But I'm also available to find other times if those specifics don't work. Okay, here's a little bit about me. But let's continue on. Important information here, but I'm going to get to the assignments. Just a few things about discussion boards. I know all of you have been using discussion boards, but that's a key way that you're going to be able to participate, and professionalism in participation is very important. So just a few things, like I don't anticipate major or hopefully no issues with this, but I just wanted to highlight the importance of professionalism. That I guess the line as it says there, professionalism assumes that you are willing and able to be respectful of others' perspectives, values, and beliefs. This does not mean that you must agree with others in all matters, but you need to demonstrate your ability to be open, honest, willing to see other perspectives, and able to integrate and give feedback with the intent to support each other. So that's kind of the intention behind the professionalism, and we'll often see that through the discussion boards. For weeks when we do have discussion boards, to get full points, you have to respond, make an original post to the prompt for the discussion board by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and respond to at least 2 peers by Friday at the same 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm going to offer some weeks to just do like an optional Zoom call where we can just like have a conversation, and if you attend that, then you don't have to do the written discussion board. But yeah, that will just be optional, and I'll kind of figure out the specific times for that later. And I likely won't do it for every single discussion board, but that'll be just coming out in the announcements, and I'll try to help you get plenty of notice for times when I do offer that informal, just face-to-face Zoom conversation. This is a class where there's no expectation that you must, join any Zoom sessions at all, but just an option instead of the written discussions, if for those of you who would like to do that. More information to come on that. All right, so there's going to just be one quiz. That's where you'll be going over. It's based on chapters 7 and 8 from the Tang text. It'll be, you can take it up to 3 times, and the maximum or the highest score will be taken. It's open book and open note, so it's not meant to be, that you need to cram and memorize things, but just be familiar with and ready for the questions. So All right, the autobiography and taking the MBTI and strong interest inventory. So, so if you've taken I'll start with the MBTI and the strong interest inventory. Some of you have likely taken these career assessments. So if you've taken those within the last 2 years, then you just need to send me like some sort of documentation as evidence that you've taken those assessments, and then they'll receive those 5 points, and you don't have to retake the MBTI and the strong interest inventory. But I do need that documentation just to confirm they've taken it. Otherwise, you can take it again and kind of see the differences. So this one, it's 20 points for the written autobiography and then 5 points just for receiving that confirmation. So I'll send more information out to those of you who need to take the MBTI and the strong interest inventory of how to do that. And I have access to the platform to see who has done it, and I'll then release the results to you. So that's how I'll confirm for the 5 points that you've done that. There's just some overview of information here. I'm actually going to go into it in more depth at the very end of the syllabus, because it goes into more of the rubric there. So just an overview here. So the one of the last major assignments is the career intervention proposal paper, and then there's a presentation accompanying that. So I'll actually start with the presentation because that one's due first. So on November 20th at 11:59 Mountain Standard Time, you'll submit a PowerPoint or some sort of similar, presentation format of your intervention plan. And I'll go over the specifics of the plan once again later after the schedule at the end of the syllabus. But that's when the due date is. And then the written proposal, a 4 to 6 page paper proposal, is due on December 6th. So that'll be the last assignment there. And I guess just jumping back really quick to the presentation. So November 20th is a Wednesday, and then by Friday you'll need to give some feedback to appear on their intervention presentation by November 22nd, Friday at 11:59 p.m. And all of these points, I just did it so it's 100 points. So every point for the class is a percentage point. All right, as we're going down, issues unique to this course, I added an AI technology statement here that I'll just read it because it's newer. It's the first time I've used it in the class, but I wanted to put it in here just as an important consideration. So the School of Counselor Education acknowledges that AI technology is a powerful tool and resource. Any use of AI within course assignments should be made with a critical lens and proper APA citations. Written work without a citation or not in your own words is plagiarism and will be handled accordingly per university policy. So just once again, it's not to say that AI is bad, don't use it, but don't plagiarize at the same time. Don't just copy and paste, maybe use it to spark some good ideas, and then think about it, use it as a tool to aid you in that thinking process if you so desire. All right, just a thought on late assignments. So I will accept late work, but it'll be a 10% reduction for each day that it's late. So that's how I've made that's the policy there, how I'll work with that. And then the grading timeline. So as it states there, my intention and my plan is to grade all work within 2 weeks of its submission. So I think I'll get to a lot of it much faster than that, but some weeks I'll have other roles going on, so it might be up to that 2 weeks. All right, I just highlighted the university information here because these are really important resources and information from the university, such as special assistance related to disability support services with ADA, student sexual misconduct, confidentiality, and mandatory reporting policy are important to know about, etc. I'd encourage you to read through that. I also, in the syllabus here, there's additional course expectations and information. There's a link in Blackboard. And I just see that I had a typo there of additionally course expectations. Squeak through. So that's, if you click on syllabus and information in Blackboard on the left-hand tab, then there'll be a link there to those additional course expectations and information. So that's more university expectation that's applicable to all students at Adams State. Just a brief overview of the schedule. We'll have 10 discussion boards. So the first 5 weeks, that'll be the form of grading and evaluation for those weeks. And I have the due date discussion in each module. You'll have the specific prompt, as well as in the discussions link on the left-hand side of Blackboard as well. Then the readings for that week will be there as well. So the first, as I said, 5 weeks will be discussion board, then just making sure that you take the MBTI and the strongest inventory by September 27th at 11:59 p.m. I need to have all of those either taken or have received the documentation of evidence of taking them within the last 2 years in order to receive those points. The quiz there on October 4th is due. Then we start getting into the paper. The autobiography will be due mid-semester. Then 5 more weeks of discussion boards. Then we'll end with the proposals. The very last week, intervention proposal paper. So the last 2 weeks, you see there, we're not adding more content. We'll have gone through all of the chapters from the Tang text. And yeah, so it'll just be time for you to finish up those assignments and wrap up the semester. Okay, so I've gone over in general the autobiography information, but a bit more on the rubric. So I've already talked about taking the MBTI and strongest inventory, but as part of this assignment, you're also going to apply theory, career development theory, to your own career development journey. And this is up to 6-page papers, or 6 pages in length. And I did want you to note that I put these suggested length ideas to kind of keep you within that 6 pages and kind of gets you an idea of what to emphasize most as well. So this paper, it must include background information, just kind of cultural background and personal factor information, then a half page on your educational training, work history, and career goals. So once again, that sounds like a lot of things, but I'm not expecting tons of depth. Half page is sufficient just to kind of give in a nutshell, what's your history, educationally, work experience, as well as some career goals. Then you start to see that the suggested page length is going up. So 2 pages for the MBTI and strongest inventory. So this is where you're going to be sharing your reactions to the feedback, kind of talk about some of the major takeaways from the MBTI. And I specifically ask about, so for the MBTI type, you'll get a 4-letter type as well as strongest inventory. You'll get an interest code. So just kind of talking about those and what those mean and how those apply to you is important as well. And I'll likely do another video to go in more depth on the autobiography, but we'll kind of see as the semester goes along if that's needed or not. And then the last is and this is where it's the biggest section of the paper because it's the most emphasized, 2 to 3 pages, is the theoretical understanding of career development. So you're going to pick 2 specific career theories from the Tang text, and we'll have gone over those already before this is due, and apply your life career experiences, as I state here, and kind of apply them to yourselves. The key is to kind of get you to think from a theoretical perspective, to use, as I say here below it, like theory can become a conceptual map. It can like help you make sense of, okay, what's happening? Where am I, or where is the client in their journey? And what might some next steps be? What might my role be in supporting them? Then here's the rubric. I'll let you look through that on your own. Then similarly, a bit more information on the career intervention proposal. So you're gonna choose a population that you want to work with in the future and create an intervention, a career theory-based intervention to support that chosen population. With a minimum of 6 peer-reviewed articles / sources. It's 4 to 6 pages in length for the paper portion, and then you're also going to prepare a PowerPoint and then respond to at least 1 peer's presentation. Similarly, here's the suggested page length. And it goes over kind of the gist there of the short description of the client population and their developmental needs. What's the lesson plan if you're doing like a group format, or like a lesson plan for school folks, school counseling track folks, or like a career intervention plan if maybe that's a one-on-one counseling session. What are you going to do in your time together? And once again, this doesn't have to be like super structured, like every single sentence of what you're going to say, like, but we need to be able to see that I need to be able to see that you're applying a theory though. So that brief overview of the chosen theory is the second step here of this assignment, and talking about the key concepts. Then you need to apply them in the lesson plan / the career intervention plan. Then just kind of some pragmatic information is included here as well, like what materials are you going to need, what kind of space are you going to need for this intervention. Maybe it's like you're doing a wilderness therapy type thing. Maybe it's you're just in a one-on-one traditional counseling chair, or you're at a school counseling office, whatever it is, but kind of just be thinking through, okay, what might I need materials as well as space to make this happen? And that's brief, half page as well for how you'll evaluate the effectiveness of the intervention plan, and then including research that supports your plan. That can be infused throughout the paper, or you can have a section on it if you'd like, a specific section. And there is the rubric for it that you can read through on your own. Okay, I'll try to be brief. I don't like to make these videos too long, but just a few basic thoughts on the Betz article. So the key concept there is that a lot of career development practitioners and theorists and researchers talk about there's this idea that personal counseling and career counseling are inseparable. That it's not like you do vastly different things in career counseling. Maybe the topic is sometimes more obviously career related, but sometimes the topic's going to be just very personal. They're working through their personal challenges. Sometimes the block to career, confidence or career success or career choice is that they're struggling with depression, or they're struggling with anxiety, or there's family dynamics that need to be worked through, or they're struggling just with their sense of identity of not knowing who they are. So sometimes these bigger aspects of life need to be explored, and then where does career fit into that larger life picture? I just briefly wanted to share, like, one of my very first clients in my practicum when I was a master's student. Yeah, about 11 years ago. Like, I still remember it starkly that it was at a clinical mental health setting, but the client came in because he hated his job. And I didn't even think of it at the time as like career counseling. It was just, that's what brought the client in. But that's like, the client was miserable at work. The client was really frustrated at work and didn't like the clients that they were working with. And it was just a drain, in a sense of just like a pretty strong source of depression for the client, So sometimes career work, it's not like you all must become career counselors after taking this class. Sometimes it just helps you understand how important career counseling or career, the career perspective can be in counseling work wherever you're at in your settings. And to wrap up, the last thing that I wanted to do is just read a quick line from the Betz article. So it's on, which page is it? Page 4. In the conclusion section, it states, how many of us, for example, would easily sustain loss of or failure in our career without some threat to our level of self-esteem, life satisfaction, and psychological well-being? How many of us will painlessly make the transition to retirement from our careers? How many of us could provide easy answers to the dilemmas of spouse, partner, geographic mobility? The work mentioned here on the integration of life roles, gender and racial or cultural issues in the theories of the process of career and other counseling provides a solid beginning for further integrative work that will, in our opinion, enhance counseling theories and improve counseling interventions. So I like those questions that it kind of pointedly asks, and there's tons more, and I'll share tons of examples about how counseling can become deep, transformative work in my experience with clients pretty quickly. There is a deep existential thread underneath, like, what am I doing with my life? What's important to me? And then how am I living that out? I think those are deep questions that many are struggling with or wrestling with or trying to find, no matter, whether they're coming from mental health, school counseling, or career counseling. Like, those are some big questions, but those tend to come up pretty regularly in career development work. So anyways, I hope that some of those questions kind of spark in you of like, oh, there is an obvious connection between seemingly, this odd, this distinguishing factor that we make between personal or clinical mental health and career, as there's vastly different, but there is so much overlap. So we'll continue to talk about that throughout the course, but just a little point that I wanted to highlight there. So once again, welcome to the course, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. I'll try to keep the videos a bit more brief, but I wanted to make sure that I was a bit more thorough with the syllabus. So, but anyways, reach out. Happy to learn with you and from you with throughout this semester. So See everyone.